What is up, guys? We are back today with a racket review. It's been a long time since I've spoken to you guys about a racket. I feel like maybe months now, but we're back. We are back, and we have the new Wilson Ultra 100 V5. Can you believe it? Version 5. I remember when they first brought this racket into existence, and everybody was like, oh, it's so cool, the blue color, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, this is the Wilson Ultra, and today I'm going to tell you what I think about this racket. First things first, I don't feel like it's a crazy upgrade from the last one, other than the paint job. I do believe they have some new tech in here. They say something right here, something 3D 644. I don't really pay attention to that stuff all that much, because at the end of the day, I just worry about what it feels like. Didn't feel crazy changes, although there is a couple of things to talk about. So if you are someone that is maybe a club player looking for lots of power, you're a junior player looking for power, you like Wilson rackets, something that is just very average across the board, does nothing crazy well. Intermediate players is going to be a great one as well. It's 100 square inches. We talk about the string setup I have in here, but this is a prototype string. I'm not able to talk about that right now. So yeah, new paint job. I like it overall. This is the new colorway they're going with the new Ultra frames. I'm getting the 99 Pro, I believe it's called, here in the next few weeks. Very pumped about that one. That one is a racket that I think I will really like, but we'll see. We will see. It just looks really nice, and it's got the glossy paint job. I do like rackets that have glossy paint jobs. But anyway, back to this frame. Not a crazy update. I reviewed the last one in March. I was a little late to the party on the last Ultra, but I got it in. And now here we are, November of 2025. The new Ultra is here.
Guys, and now for a quick sponsor break. Today we have the Q2 Bob and Brad mini massage gun, and let me tell you, this thing is so good. It literally fits in your pocket and is 3,000 RPM. And this partnership is important to us because Bob and Brad actually run deep within the MP Tennis channel, and myself personally, I used to watch all the videos from Bob and Brad.
Bob and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Brad, especially when I was a little bit younger as a junior, you know, traveling, you're trying to figure out little things when you have aches and pains in your body. Sometimes you don't have access to a physio when you're on the road, especially when you're younger. Even in my college days when we didn't have the trainer with us or something like this, I would always look up and search for a Bob and Brad video. They have tons of videos out there, whether it's your tennis elbow or jumper's knee. Those are just two that I always refer to quite often. They often refer to this cross fiber massage that was absolute gold for me when I needed something in a pinch. So once again, this is the Q2 massage minigun. I'm loving it. The form factor is amazing. 3,000 RPM. If you're able to pick one up, you'll be able to tell it's very solid in your hand, and it is a great product. So thank you, Bob and Brad. If you're not going to even pick up one of these, definitely go check out their YouTube channel. They have some great videos on there. They can help you potentially play better tennis and, of course, be pain-free. So let me tell you, if you're looking for a massage gun that packs a punch that you can literally carry in your pocket, great for if you're wanting to put it in a suitcase, backpack, literally in your pocket, this one is for you.
So on the Groundstrokes from the back, no weight added to this whatsoever, just the string added. This is a full bed of poly, I am allowed to say that. It's not crazy heavy for someone that's maybe more advanced like me, college players, anybody that's above that 4.550, maybe UTR 7.5. I think this is going to be a little light when receiving balls that are penetrating the baseline. So you might feel a little wobbly, a little unstable here at times on the Groundstrokes. However, when you connect in the middle of the bed, it feels very good. Really good. It shoots out of the bed very nicely. Great access to depth. Pretty solid with the spin and the power on the Groundstrokes. So I have to give it a decent score, but it's definitely not stellar. We're gonna stick it here at a 6.5. It would have done better if it could have handled power a little bit better coming from the opponent or the other player, and also if the sweet spot just felt a little bit bigger, considering this is a 100 square inch racket. To find the sweet spot was weird. I had a little bit of a hard time with that. That's something I think I'm trying to recall the last Ultra. That is something that I feel like is a tiny bit different, but is still part of the DNA in a way. So 6.5 out of 10. Wish I could give it a higher score, but I can't. Up at the nets, didn't feel as good as the previous version. Once again, same problem. When it's outside of the string bed, I feel like with more advanced play, this racket feels a tiny flimsy. Once again, wish it was better. And this is going to be the story of this racket. When it hits the middle of the strings, it is unbelievable. It feels really good. It's a feeling that, like, I would want to play with this racket all the time, but I don't get this feeling every time I make contact with the ball. It's not consistent, whether you're talking about Groundstrokes or Volleys. The bed doesn't feel consistent, and that's really important for me, at least. Once again, though, you can hit some nice deep volleys. For a 100 square inch frame, I do appreciate the touch and feel aspect of this racket. You do feel connected in that sense. You can really hold the ball, if that makes sense, like with your hand. I feel like Wilson rackets, you are able to do that quite well in general. But overall, on the volley, once again, not amazing, but it'll get the job done for you. Definitely more for an intermediate style of play in speed, I think. So we're going to put it at a 6.5. Again, serves. Didn't have that much trouble with the sweet spot issue on the serve. I was able to hit everything I wanted. Flat serves really come out of here fast. You can get lots of spin on the kick serve, and slice serve as well was very solid. I think that's probably one of the better aspects of this racket. If you're an intermediate player, you like to hit some big booming serves, this could be a good option for you. Once again, you can even tailor it a little bit more to your liking with a string that you really like, and maybe add a little bit of a weight here if you're a racket nerd. But the serve overall did the job, and it was much better than the other aspects so far, so we got to score it pretty high. We're going to go 8.5 out of 10 on the serve. Returns, not so hot. I wish it was better, but once again, this is where you're really feeling this racket be unstable, a little flimsy, a little weak, and I didn't get this as much with the previous version. I don't remember feeling this. On returns, I can't remember. I feel like I scored it maybe like a 6 or a 7. We can check online there, or you guys can see what I scored the previous one. This was arguably a little bit worse than that 6-7 sort of rating. When the ball comes in fast, you're returning a flat serve, the racket wants to buckle a little bit. Once again, that's why I think this racket is more for intermediate play. I could add weight on here, but I don't want to add weight unless I really have to, and I think if I added weight to this frame, it would also produce way too much power, and I would really have to then string tight, and with a really controlled poly, not sure I would really want to do that, because then we got to worry about stiffness, all these other things. Anyway, back to return. Once again, you make contact in the middle of the bed, feels really good. You can shoot one out here and it's going to be like a laser winner, but that was happening like 1 or 2 out of 10 times. Other times, a lot of short returns, a lot of buckling of the racket. You're a little unsure where it's going. Not a problem you want to have, in my opinion. Got to give it a 4 out of 10 here. Power category, it's going to score pretty high here when you're hitting it in the middle of the strings. I say that because I've had a hard time doing it with this racket. The sweet spot is small. So when you're hitting it well, the power is super good. It comes out of the frame very fast. It's moving through the court. It kind of feels effortless as well. So the power on this frame, that's what it's known for. If you're comparing to a pro staff, for example, this will have more power. It's 100 square inches. It's 16 by 19. You are going to get power from this frame. Is it better than the last one? I would say it's very similar. So we're going to put it, I'll say 9 out of 10 for now. Pretty solid overall. Maybe some people will find it's too much. I feel like I can handle rackets that are too much power or on the higher side, or vice versa on the more control side. You just kind of tinker around with it. But yeah, that's what I thought about the power category, 9 out of 10. The control category, not bad. I feel like I was able to control the depth better than the direction, if that makes sense with this frame. I think I preferred the last racket compared to this one when it came to control. Just felt a little bit more all one connected when moving through the air. This string that I do have is a little bit softer, on the softer side, so maybe I could easily switch that up and put a little bit stiffer, something stiffer in here. That would change how the racket would play a little bit. But overall, not horrible, but I don't like it as much as the previous version. We'll say 7 out of 10 on the control, especially considering what type of racket this is. This is not a racket that's going to blow your socks off with that control category. If you're buying it for control, look somewhere else, you'll get much better options, but 7 out of 10 is what we're sticking here with. Maneuverability, considering once again what type of frame this is, I feel like it moves through the air pretty well. We're gonna say 8.5 out of 10. I think on the last racket I gave it a really high score on maneuverability. I can't remember what I thought. Once again, it's probably the exact same mold, but just different tech. Sometimes paint jobs or like the way the racket just feels in the hand, the gloss versus not gloss. I know this is probably the same feeling as the previous Ultra, but it can be a mental thing. This is a little brighter colors, so maybe it's mental with me and I don't feel it's as maneuverable. I don't know. Things are weird with rackets. Everybody has their own little things. Stability, we know this is going to be bad. Okay, we know it's going to be bad. The last racket I gave a 7. This one is worse. We're going to stick it at a 5. Could it be better with a different string? I don't know. It's a poly. This is a good string, so I wish it was better. If the stability was better with this racket, this racket could be deadly, all right? If you're getting what you're getting those 2 out of 10 times out of the string bed, this is one of the best rackets ever. It feels so good, but it's not stable every time. It will buckle, especially for a higher level player. You definitely need to put some weight on there, but then once again, you have to change some of the other things you put in the racket, weight, string, tension, all these other things. Comfort, had no issues with this. The previous Ultra, I think I strung with restring 0. Be careful if you put a stiff poly in this. This is a softer poly, didn't have any issues. Just be cognizant of that. These are stiffer frames, generally 100 square inch frames, 16 by 19, thicker beam. They can be harsh on wrist, elbow, arm, anything in this area. So just be aware of that. I didn't have any issues. We'll stick it at a 7 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10, but just be aware. This could easily be a 2 out of 10 if you string really tight and with a stiff poly. So there's definitely ways to make this racket work, and it worked totally fine for me. Touch and feel, considering what this racket offers, not bad. The previous racket, I gave an 8 out of 10. Not as good with this one. I'll probably stick it at a 6.5. Wish it was as good, but it just wasn't. At the net, you feel connected, but then it's still giving you the stability issues there from time to time, and that impacts this score on the touch and feel. You just don't feel as connected. Topspin, overall, really good. This was one of the more consistent parts of this frame. You know what you were going to get every time. If you were going to put more on it, you're going to get more. You know how much you're going to get. Sometimes you play with a pure arrow. You know you're going to get spin, but maybe it's going to be a lot of spin. And this, I feel like you were able to judge, and that's exactly what you were going to get. So pretty high score with this one, 9 out of 10. I felt like you could kind of, when you move the ball around with an angle or something, you could put some spin on it and move through the court quite nicely, or maybe a heavier ball. You do have that option to play a little bit flatter with this frame too. So yeah, I felt pretty connected to it in that sense when making spin decisions. So Topspin, very solid. Now to slice, last but not least, once again, when it comes off the frame from the middle of the bed, this is borderline a 10 out of 10, but I didn't get the sensation every time, so that brings down the score quite a bit. Once again, you're going to stick it in that 5, 6 area. We'll go 6. It just not working all the time. I'm going to slice, it feels good, and then it's like unstable or weak, and that's not a feeling you want to have during points. Wish it was better, but that's where we're going to stick it at right now. And just a little clarification about the ratings. The way my ratings work, think about if you did 100% on a test, you would be really happy. So if I give it a 10 out of 10 on a category, it means I'm very happy with that. If I give it a 5 out of 10 on a category, 50% means you failed. So on the slice, that's pretty much a fail. I gave it a 6. We're really close. So think in terms of percentages when I give that rating out of 10. If I give an 8 out of 10, that's pretty good. Not bad. Maybe you can do a little bit better. Maybe average is what we can say there. But I want to give clarification on the ratings. Had some questions about that in the past. And that's that. This is the Wilson Ultra V5 1619-100. No weight with a poly. Full bed in here. Looks very nice, but probably not a racket for me. definitely more for intermediate players. I think their ratings for this racket would be much higher because the ball would be coming slower, the speed of play is slower. That's just a different game after all. So that's what I think about this racket. Let me know what you think in the comments about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We got more videos coming. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.